where the orange moon is silently strong, rising like a fiery tonsil from throat of sea. Here, in this place of beauty, where the midnight landscape holds her breath and gasps with want of words. Here in this place I rest and sit on cedar-decked stage, hugging my knees which hold my throat, as my breath leaves my chest and rises with the lungs of the moon. We don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. However liberated we feel ourselves to be, we are always limited by our own perception. And that's why I have great respect for the artists of this world who try to translate the ineffable into words. If only for a moment, we are granted entry into the interior of another. Having only stuck my feet into a culture that many have spent their lives immersed in, I will nonetheless try.
We invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy our Air Pacific hospitality.
If there's anything you wanted other American students my age to know about Samoa, what else would you say?
Not really, but I would just wanted to tell the other kids, like, you know, if you have enough time or enough money, budget, well, might as well just jump in the plane and come to Samoa, you know, at least have a visit. And trust me, you're gonna love it like the first time you're gonna be here. As soon as you get out the plane, despite the heat and hot, yeah, you will love it. Everything. It's just so different, even though it's not really fancy like in the States where you get to see all those flashy lights and all these modern things. But yeah, as soon as you get out, you're gonna love it. The people will approach you in a very good way and they're all friendly. They will love you as well. Just the very first minute they see you, they're gonna love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we are about to do something like a summer performance to entertain you. Please welcome Santino from Australia, Brisbane, Sydney, California.
You know, I'm actually filming this.
Huh?
A camera brings with it great power and responsibility. It raises questions. For instance, is me taking a picture of tourists taking photographs any different from what they are doing? Why is it that this is the only picture of Pacific Islanders on Wikipedia's Pacific Islander page? Note the date. If Wikipedia's articles have been written collaboratively by people all over the world, what does that date say about Pacific Islanders in today's popular imagination? Early anthropology is criticized for locking groups of people in a time vacuum, of representing culture as static, of granting people no agency toward change in the future. Does today's visual culture still lock people in time? What is paradise in the popular imagination? Swaying palm trees and radiant sunsets on tropical beaches? When I was in Samoa, a certain irony was pointed out to me. A 32-year-old local said, "White people came here originally preaching that paradise could not be found on earth, but only above. Now they come here because this is paradise." Paradise is thought of as timeless, a notion that further relocates people to another world, one removed from the stresses of modernity. It is an oversimplification. In the introduction of an anthology of contemporary Polynesian poetry in English, Samoan writer Albert Wint asserts that, while the area known as Polynesia is indeed incredibly beautiful, it is also home to many thousands of people who have learned over the centuries to survive extraordinary hardships. The romantic ideas and images held by outsiders about the Pacific have plagued our people since first contact. In breaking away from the rest and recreation stereotypes, has been a major issue for Polynesian writers, artists, scholars, and politicians ever since. Misrepresentations of the Pacific have been perpetuated through film, painting, South Seas novels, and outsider accounts, most often from an Anglo-male perspective, and are today sustained by the tourism industry. From the 18th century to the 1980s, representations of Pacific Islanders were in the hands of Europeans, whose portraits ranged from ethnocentric to blatantly racist. Late 19th century anthropologists conceived of human history in a linear evolution ranging from primitive to civilized. Darwin's theory of evolution was misconstrued and used to justify paternalistic actions towards so-called less advanced societies. In ways, imperialism was legitimized by anthropology's scientific data proving that indigenous non-European peoples were inferior. While stereotypes of those in Polynesia were more favorable than those in Melanesia, who were seen as representative of beauty, purity, and simplicity, rather than of darkness and savagery, as scholar Vilsoni Hereniko has written, negative or positive stereotypes reduce islanders to two-dimensional figures, not fully human, resulting in the erosion of the self-esteem and dignity of the colonized. They must then contend with identities that are not of their own making, but nonetheless become regarded over time as their distinctive characteristic, that which makes them different from others. A stereotypical cultural identity, once stuck, is almost impossible to shake off completely. What rhetoric am I talking about exactly?
Today one must go inland to find traces of the old Fiji, of the savages whose appearance struck such terror in the souls of the early traders. The villages consist of a few houses woven of grass and topped with thatched roofs. Here the natives still indulge in what is practically their only form of amusement, the meki-meki. The fact that their grandfathers were among the most ravenous cannibals in the history of the world is, we suspect, a source of secret pride. Proud, too, they are of the enormous mops of bush-like hair that form such savage auras for their brown faces.
No one need work in this Garden of Eden, for luscious fruit is on every hand.
As a race, they have traveled far along the path of development during the 59 years they have been under British rule. War, cannibalism, polygamy, and all their attendant evils are but memories of the dark past from which they have emerged. Samoa is one of the few places in the world still unspoiled by white civilization. Perhaps the loveliest maiden in all Samoa is the daughter of the High Chief, the beautiful princess. The High Chief guards his daughter as he guards the honor of his name. A few short years ago, his title would have been King of Samoa, but today he is High Chief and a subject of the British Empire. He and the princess, his wife, are the purest and most distinguished type of Polynesian. They represent the highest culture that civilization has achieved in a land that was once the stronghold of cannibalism. And it is with this thought that we say farewell to the Cannibal Isles.
It is easy to think that the 1930s were long ago, and yet 2008 still holds much of the same.
I go tribal on a remote island and discover you just don't get any more primitive than this. Welcome to Samoa, a tropical paradise where life is simple, laid back, and people march to the rhythm of their own drummer.